Hello, good evening, everyone. So, this is Umang Sadhwani from LetsUpgrade team. I welcome all of you students to our Day 2 Web Development Essential Batch, February batch. So, today we have with us Saurabh Gupta sir, who is a web and an app developer. He will be training us all in web development essentials. So one of the major points I want to cover for all of you is fill your attendance forms. It is a mandatory thing, so do it right now. All of you guys have to fill the attendance form for your criteria for the exam for which you will get the certificate. Second thing I want to say to you all is that we all have giveaways for the all of you who will be attending these lectures and filling the attendance form. 3 people will be chosen from random and will be up for giveaways. So coming up to the next part. So yesterday we learned about the introduction. We were given introduction about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and we also learned what is a website and what are web pages and how a website is created. Thirdly, we also learned what is client side and server side scripting, and also we learned DOM manipulation. All of you guys who haven't seen the first lecture should watch it, and also as sir told us to revise the basics of HTML, CS. I hope all of you have done that. So moving on. Once again, I would like to say, please fill your attendance form. Now, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Umang. Hello, everyone. How are you people? I hope everyone is good. Okay. So yesterday, I really hope that a lot of people from yesterday are still here today, right? So I told you to learn a bit of HTML and CSS after the session. So I also hope that you have covered that a little bit, right? Because from today, we're actually going to start with JavaScript, right? From today, I'm actually going to start with the JavaScript fundamentals. So we're going to cover the programming fundamentals, then we'll move on to the actual part of DOM manipulation. So now we have, so basically from today, we're going to start coding, right? And maybe from next lecture or from next to next lecture, we're actually also going to start making things in JavaScript, right? So I really hope that everyone has learned a little bit of HTML and CSS. And if you haven't, don't worry, you can still go tonight after the session. You can also go and watch them, because today is mostly all about what you call programming fundamentals, right? So you still have one day, because from tomorrow you're going to start with the actual DOM manipulation part, right? From tomorrow. So you can say that today is the last day where you can go on and learn a little bit of HTML and CSS before moving on to the use of it, right? Okay, then. So let's start. So today's agenda is, before moving on to what JavaScript actually does to the web, we first have to understand JavaScript at its core, right? Before moving on to the actual work of JavaScript with HTML and CSS, first today we're going to see all the basics, all the core principles of JavaScript, right? So basically, you can say all the programming fundamentals of JavaScript, right? We are going to see why JavaScript is called as a scripting language, right? So what are all the programming features available in JavaScript and how to do them. Now, a lot of people from you might be already knowing some might be already have some programming background. You might be knowing a lot about variables, loops and all, but a lot of from you people may not know everything, right? So I'll just tell everyone to watch it properly, try to understand everything, because there are a lot of things that are different in JavaScript as compared to other programming languages. So watch carefully, try to understand each and everything, because the whole lecture for today is we're going to cover the programming principles in JavaScript, right? We're going to see how variables are created in JavaScript. We're going to see how you write conditional statements. We're going to see how you write loops. And if we get time, we'll also move on to arrays and objects. That is one of the most important concepts of JavaScript. That will once you understand that array and objects concept, everything all, you can say 50% of the things in JavaScript will be a lot easier for you after that, once you understand the concept of arrays and objects. But that is the latter part of the session. First, we're going to start with the basic programming fundamentals. Okay, should we start? Is everyone ready for this? Is everyone excited for this? Please give me a cheer. Please give me a yes, so that I can see you people in the chat. Guys, should we start with it today? Everyone? That is great. That is great. I can see a lot of yeses now. So then let's start. So now, First of all, how to start writing JavaScript, right? Like, let's say like I don't have anything in my mind. I just want to learn how to start writing JavaScript, right? Okay. Now, there are basically two ways of writing JavaScript, right? There are basically two ways of writing JavaScript with HTML, right? So, the first way is if I want to write JavaScript, right? See, remember, whenever you want to write client side JavaScript, you will always need a HTML page, because when you talk about client side JavaScript, you run it on your browser, right? And browser, when you want to run JavaScript on the browser, you always need a HTML page with it. So if you want to run client-side JavaScript, you will always need a HTML page. Now see, I'm specifying client-side JavaScript because now JavaScript has also become server-side. And in that case, you don't need HTML page. That's why I'm mentioning, if you want to run client-side JavaScript, if you want to write client-side JavaScript, you will always need a HTML page with it. So we have our HTML page, we have a first.html, and we have a HTML page, so that now we can start writing JavaScript. So let's see how to start how to start writing JavaScript. So the first way is you can go in your HTML page, any HTML page you have, right? At the end, in the body section, at the end, you can create a tag named script tag, right? And then you can also close it. Now, the area or the gap between the script tag is the place where you can actually start writing JavaScript. So this is the place where you can start writing client side JavaScript. Now, when I say again client side, that will run in your browser using your client's memory. I hope I explained all of this pretty well yesterday, right? What is client side JavaScript? So this is how you're going to start writing client side JavaScript. Remember 2 points. Whenever you want to start writing client side JavaScript, you will always need a HTML page with it, right? So that you can run it in your browser, right? And this is one way of writing JavaScript. In the body section, at the end, where you can maybe like all elements, where all your elements end, after the ending in the body, you can create a script tag, and in between the script tag, you can actually start writing JavaScript. This is one way. We'll also see the other way. Maybe after some time, maybe after 20 to 30 minutes, I'll also show you another way of writing JavaScript. But this is the first way of writing it. Okay. I hope it is cleared now. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. So this is a place where you can actually write JavaScript. Now, there are few very important things in JavaScript, right? That you have to know so that you can understand whatever I'm going to write, right? So now JavaScript has a lot of inbuilt objects. JavaScript has a lot of inbuilt objects. Yes, you can write. Okay, so, it's a very good question actually, because a lot of people do it. Soumyajit is asking, can we write JavaScript in the head section of HTML? Yes, if needed, like if you want, you can go on and place this script in the head section of JavaScript. But I will suggest you never to do it, because this thing will basically increase your page load. Remember this thing will basically increase your page load, because JavaScript comes, like in this scenario, JavaScript comes first and all the HTML comes afterwards. So what if JavaScript takes time? Then everything else will load slowly. That's why what we always do is we always put our JavaScript at the end in the body section, so that first all our HTML elements load and then only the JavaScript starts loading. That's all we want. That's the thing we want. We first want our page to load properly, and then after that, our script should load. That's why you should never think of writing JavaScript in the head section. A lot of people do it. Maybe in your colleges, like a lot of people do it. Even online, if you go on and see some coders coding, there are like also cases where people are doing in head section. But according to W3C, you should never do it in head section, right? And if someone tells you that okay, we write scripting in head section because there is security, there is nothing like that. People can still see it even if it is in a head section, right? People can still see it anywhere. So there is no security, there is no reason for security by writing JavaScript in head, right? Remember this point, there is no security. If someone tells you that, that is a lie, right? Okay, so it's only about the page load, right? That's why we have to always write your JavaScript at the end, once all your element ends, and then here you go with the script tag. Okay, are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? Okay, cool. Now, so as I was saying, JavaScript has a lot of inbuilt objects, right? That basically means JavaScript has a lot of objects that will help you to write the code. Just like if you go on C, right? You have inbuilt printf, you have inbuilt scanf. If you go in Java, you have inbuilt system.out.println. Just like that, JavaScript also has a lot of inbuilt objects that is going to help us to start writing the code, right? Please remember this. Now, for the two sessions, I'm directly going to use the inbuilt objects. But for people who don't understand what are objects, don't worry. There is a complete session that I'll dedicate to just explain you what exactly is an object. Just for now, just try to understand that object is nothing but a collection of properties and functions. That's all. Object is nothing but a collection of properties and functions. Just get this definition now. Don't worry about it. Let's start using it. Once I actually get to a topic where I am going to teach you how to create your own objects, I will explain and you will also see how an object is created and why I am telling you this definition, right? So don't worry about if you don't understand it at first. Right now we're going to use inbuilt objects. That basically means we're not going to create it, we're just going to use it, right? In future, maybe in tomorrow's session, or maybe after tomorrow's session, I'm going to teach you how to create your own objects, and in that session you will understand exactly what is an object and how it works. But for now, just think like, okay, object is nothing but a collection of properties and functions. That's all. And JavaScript has a lot of inbuilt objects that is going to help you to start writing the code. Okay, cool. Now, okay, so JavaScript has a lot of inbuilt objects, but the most important object, the main object that JavaScript has, is the window object. Remember this. This is the most important object in JavaScript, the window object, right? The window object. So basically, every other object that you have in JavaScript is the child of window object. You just have to remember this. Every other object that you have in JavaScript is the child of window object. Window is the parent of everything. Just remember this. Window is the parent of all the objects in JavaScript. Just remember this. Now, when I want to access anything from an object, right? When I want to access anything from an object, you can just go on and write, okay, fine, window dot, and then I can access one of its child object, like, okay, fine, console. Now, console is another object, right? Console is another object that will help you to deal with the console. But we don't know, like, this is now, it's becoming very hard to understand, right? Window, console, and everything. So let's do one thing. Let's cancel all this first, and let's go in the browser and try to understand what exactly I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, so this page is running. I have already I'm already running this page. Okay, now if you go on inspect, if you go on inspect in your browser, click on inspect, right click and inspect. See, this is the place. This is basically the developer tools, right? This is basically the developer tools that is available in your browser, right? And that will help you in development of your web page. So the first tab in developers tool, you can see it's the element tab, where you can see your DOM tree, where you can see a DOM tree. See, you have HTML, you have this head, inside that you have this title, then you have this body, in that body you have this h1, right? It is not looking exactly like a tree, but you should understand that this is the tree. This is the DOM tree. This is the code that what you call the browser is generating, that how it is understanding your HTML code. So whenever you want to see the DOM tree, you can always go to element section, right? Then the second thing that you have here is console. Now, what is exactly is a console? Console is nothing but, you can say, the command prompt of the browser. Just like you have a command prompt in your Windows, right? Whatever you can do in your operating system, you can also do with your command prompt, right? If you want to create a folder in Windows, you go and right click a new folder, but you can also do that thing with the help of the command prompt, right? So every other software has its own command prompt where you can write commands and perform the same operations. Exactly in that sense, this console is nothing but the command prompt of the browser. You can say that this is a command prompt of the browser. And the language that this console understands is nothing but JavaScript. Just remember this. The language that this console understands is nothing but JavaScript. Now, what are the things that you can do on console? Like we understood that in the element section, you basically see the tree, the DOM tree, right? In the element section, you basically see the DOM tree, right? What you call the HTML that is generated by the browser, right? In the console section, you can see any JavaScript error that is happening in your web page. First thing, you can see all the JavaScript errors. So if your web page has any JavaScript errors, you can see it in the console. It will basically prompt it. It will show you, okay, fine, you have this error, please solve it. Right? So in future, if you're writing some JavaScript code and you make any errors, console is the place where you can see it. First thing. Second, you can also print anything in the console. If you want to like test anything or print any value and see what is the value, right, you can always go for the console. And third thing, you can also write JavaScript code in the console. That will be temporary, because once you refresh, console gets cleared. Remember this: once you refresh, console gets cleared. Right? Everything is gone from the console. Right? So remember, first thing, the console, like how console helps us, it will show you the JavaScript errors. You can print anything on the console. And third thing, you can also write JavaScript in the console. Are we understanding all of this, guys? Are we understanding all of this? See, now you have more tools. You also have this: sources, network, performance, memory. But that is like, you don't have to understand that right now. You will understand all of them when you actually go for some back-end development and stuff. So don't worry about it right now. For the front-end development, we only need this elements and console. Mainly elements and console. So for now, we're only going to talk about these two. Once we get into some advanced topics, we're also going to talk about these tools. But remember, this section that is opened here is nothing but developer tools. It helps the developer to develop the web page or the application. Okay. So I hope you understood the console now, right, guys? Everyone has understood what is console in the browser. It's just a command prompt of the browser. It will help you to view JavaScript errors in your web page. It will also help you to print anything using JavaScript, and you can also write JavaScript here directly. Okay, are we clear with the console, everyone? Right? And elements is the place where you can see your DOM tree. Right? You can see it. See, when I go to hello there, see, it highlights that this is the component that you have selected. So basically, it helps. Elements will also help you to find out an element. That's all. You'll learn it. You'll learn it. Don't worry. You'll learn it once we move ahead. You'll learn what this element is doing. You just have to understand that this is basically showing you the tree of the web page that is getting generated, and you can hover on any element and see what is that element. So it will basically help you to find out the elements, view the elements, and see the DOM tree generated by the browser. Okay, so that's all. Are we cleared, everyone? Are we cleared, everyone? Now,
Sir?
yes. Yes,
Sir,
Umang.
Priyanka was asking like JavaScript console, is there an HTML or CSS console?
No, we don't have any HTML or CSS console, Priyanka. See, HTML and CSS are not programming languages. So you're not going to write any, like, you're not going to have any values or calculations in them, right? So you don't need console for it. You don't need any console for it where you can view like the errors or anything. HTML and CSS don't have any errors. They are not programming languages, right? They are just content creation languages and styling languages. So whatever you do, you'll have some, always you have some output, either something disturbed or something less colorful or something not that good looking, but you'll always have output. But JavaScript, on the other hand, is a programming language that may cause errors, where you can write logic, right? You can write wrong logic. Maybe you can do some wrong calculations. There may be some storage problem. So JavaScript, on the other hand, is a programming language. That's why it has a console, right? HTML and CSS are not programming languages. They don't have any logic in them, right? They are just producing some content, that's all, right? So just understand, they are just basically, you can say, they are just data holding language. They hold some data, that's all. That's all. They don't have any values or logic or calculations, right? That's why they don't have any console. Okay, are we cleared? Okay, so now, before moving on to how to use JavaScript to work on the web page, let's try to learn how to use JavaScript to work in the console, right? You have to understand both. As a developer, see, the important work of JavaScript will be when we learn how to actually use JavaScript on the elements on the web page. But before moving on to that, let's first try to learn how to use JavaScript and perform all the operations on the console without disturbing the web page. First, that is the thing that we are going to learn here. Okay, are we cleared, everyone? So should we start now? Should we start, everyone? So as I was saying, now, to perform any operation on the console using the JavaScript, to perform any operation on the console using JavaScript, JavaScript has given you an object that will help you to work with the console. And the object name is console, right? That's why I was saying it, right? That's why I was basically trying to tell you what exactly is console. But now I hope you understand. So JavaScript has given you a console object that will help you to work on the console, right? JavaScript has given you a console object that will help you to perform any operations on the console, to print anything, or to perform any calculation and view on the console. So there is a console object available in JavaScript, right? Please remember this. And as I said, all the objects in JavaScript are basically child of which object? Window object. So we can also write window.console. Remember, whenever you're writing an object, and if you want to access any of its child, you always go for dot, right? You always go for dot. Let's say you have a A object and a B object. And if I say B is the child of A, so if you want to access B, I have to write A dot B. That's simple. That's simple. Okay. No, you cannot use any other language other than JS in this case, right? That console is made for JS. The browser console is made for JS, right? So you just have to understand that. That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I explained, right? The language of console is JavaScript. So it was made for JavaScript, right? So you just have to understand. Okay. Now, and console has a function. So now, as I said, that console is the object that will help you to do anything on the console. So let's see the first thing that the console object will do for you. Let's see how to print anything on the console. Let's just see a very simple thing, how to print anything on the console. So console object has a function. And again, if you want to call a function from object, you will always again write a dot. If people like, see, if people like a lot of people from you might be knowing the concept of objects, right? And a lot of people from you might not be knowing it. So don't worry. This is the only explanation I'm giving you for objects right now. And after this, I'm actually going to explain you how a object works, how they are created, and why I'm writing these dots and everything. But just for now, to start, just try to understand it like this. Don't worry about it. Just think of it like a statement, right? If just like you learned Java, right? So there you wrote system.out.println. You thought like it was a just a printing statement, but actually system was a class, print was an object, and then sorry, out was an object, and then println was again a function. Just think it like that. It's just there. That's all. So console has a function named log. And then if you want to write anything, you can just go on, put it in double quotes and say hello there. And this hello there will be printed on the console, right? Just remember this. This hello there will be printed on the console. So you can use the console object, and then you can use the log method of the console object, log function of the console object to print anything on the console. Now let's save this code and see it now. So remember, window is the parent object, right? Then window dot I access one of its child, that is the console object. So window dot console object has a function named log. So I just said console dot log and hello there. So console dot log is basically this what you call the statement that you'll use to print anything on the console. That's it. Save it. Let's refresh the page. See, I have printed something on the console. You can see it. Hello there. I hope you're understanding this. You can also like we can just go on and copy this and also print one more statement, right? Okay, I am JS, something like this. Save it, and then you can just refresh and see. Now we have two statements: hello there and I'm JS. Just like you have printf in C, right? Just like you write printf hello there and printf I am JS or printf I am C. Same like that, right? I hope it is getting cleared. Okay, I think Amardeep is asking what is the difference between function and a method. It's very normal. Actually, both are same, right? But the only difference here is when a function returns a value, it's a function, and when a function does not return a value, it's a method. That's what we call it. When a function returns a value, we call it a function, and when a function is not returning a value, we just call it a method. That's all. That's the only difference. Otherwise, both are same. Both are functions. That's all. A function becomes a method when it is not returning any value. That is all. Is log child of console and log is grandchild of window? You can say that, Tejasu. You can say that. Yes, you can say that. But log is a function. Log is not an object. Remember, anything that has like a name and has rounded brackets after it, it will be a function. It is not an object. It is a function. Function is basically something that is performing something for you. You'll also understand it when we start creating our own functions. Right now, just understand that is a function that is performing something. That's all. Okay, that's all. Just remember this. ABC. So if you have any name, and after that, after the name, if you have rounded brackets, that basically says it's a function. And a function is nothing but that is doing some kind of job for you, that is doing some kind of operation for you. In this case, this log is printing something on the console, right? That's all. That is all. You will understand more about functions once we learn how to create our own functions. Just for now, I'm explaining it normally. Don't take it that way. Just try to understand that this is something that we are using to print. Once we actually get to the topic of functions, you will actually understand why we have rounded brackets, right? And why that is known as a function and what is the actual use of function. So you have to wait for at least one lecture to understand. But right now, printing was very necessary to perform the basic operations. That's why I taught you this. But I cannot just say that console.log is something. I have to explain what console is, and I also have to explain what log is. That's why I told you that it is an object and it is a function. I just want you people to know everything.
Sir,
Yes, yes, please tell me.
Tejasu is asking, is log child of console and log is grandchild of window? Can you
Yes, yes, you can say that.
explain that?
Yes, that, I think I answered that to Tejasu. Yes, it is like that. Yes, Tejasu. You can say that. Window is the parent object, right? So console is the child of window. Then log is obviously the grandchild of window. That's just a way of saying it. Yes, exactly. You can say that. Okay. Okay. A lot
Sir,
of
they
people
are
from you.
also asking document.write can be used to print.
Yes, yes. Document dot write. We are not going to use document dot write, right? And I'll also explain you why. Just wait for a lecture. Don't worry, guys. I'll also, because a lot of people from you, when you started learning JS, I think you people used document dot write. Even I, when I started learning JS, I was taught to use document dot write, but it is not a good thing to use document dot write. But I'll also explain you why. Don't worry. Just wait for a lecture or two. I'll explain you why we should not use document dot write, and I'll also explain you what document.write does and why should we not use it. Okay. So just wait for a lecture. We are just going step by step. I have everything in my mind. Don't worry, guys. Okay. Now, I hope you understood how to print anything, right? On the console. Now, as I said, window is the parent of all the objects. So any objects that you're going to use in JavaScript, window is the parent of everything, right? That basically says if you want to write anything, you have to start with it window. If you want to write anything, you have to start with it. You have to like start it with window. So what developers thought, if I have to write window everywhere, then what is the point of it? Let's do it internally. Let the person write it without window and we will add it internally, right? Because we are going to do it every time with each and every object. Then basically developers said, so now if you write window, well and good. If you don't want to write it, you can just ignore it, and that will also work. Internally, the browser will add window for you, because it is going to be repeating, it is going to be everywhere. So the developers thought that even if you don't write it, it's totally fine, we'll add it internally. So if you write it, it will work. Even if you don't write it, it's totally fine. That's why there's no like problem if you don't write window, and that's why we're also not going to write window, right? But you have to understand that window is there. That's why I wrote that first. So wherever window is required, you can just ignore the window. That's all. So the actual function should look like this: console.log. And I think this is the thing that you have seen on a lot of websites, right? You don't see window there, but explanation was important for that. Okay. I hope you understood this, right? So we're just going to have console.log, but it was important to understand that console comes from window. Okay, I hope everyone is cleared with this now. So console.log is the thing that we are going to use to print anything on the console. Okay, I hope it is cleared now, everyone.
Sir, they also wanted to know that mathematical operations can also be performed inside. They just wanted a little demo of console.log and like 5 plus 7 or
Yes,
11 plus 2.
yes, we can do that, but just wait a minute. We have just like, guys, please just wait a minute. We have just started with console.log. We are also going to see what are all the things that you can do in that. So just wait for a minute, right? Everyone, just wait. We'll see everything. Don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Now let's remove one console.log. We just need one for now. Okay. Now, as I said that console is also used to print the errors, right? So let's make an error. Let's remove this bracket. Now this will cause an error in JavaScript for sure. Save it. Let's go on the console, refresh it. See, missing bracket after argument list, right? So basically Console is also helping me writing my code. So if I do any mistakes in JavaScript code, it tells me that, okay, in the first.html page on line 13, you're missing a rounded bracket. So this is also a job of console. It helps you if you make any error in JavaScript. So we got to see two things, right? We can print anything, and we can also, what do you call, see errors. If you make any error in JavaScript, we can also see it on the console. So you can just go on, solve it, save it, refresh again, the error will be gone and the output will be there for you. Okay, I hope everyone is understanding, right? So don't worry about the errors. You can, I just wanted to let you know that you can see errors. Understanding errors and reading errors is a different thing. And don't worry, we'll also learn that thing, how to understand errors, right? So don't worry about it. I just wanted to show you that, yes, errors come there. Okay. Now, the third thing that I promised you, right? That I told you, right? That we can also write JavaScript on the console itself. So let's see if we can write it or not. You can just go on, write console.log, see, directly on console, enter, see the output. I hope you're understanding this. So we directly wrote JavaScript on the console. So this is also possible. So whenever you want to like see some output of JavaScript code just for temporary time, and okay, fine, like I have some operation, right? And I don't want to mix it with my file, with my JavaScript code. I just want to check it. I just want to write it and check it for only once. I can open console and write it and check it. I don't have to merge it with my code and refresh the page and create a HTML page for it. You can always go on the console and write the JavaScript and that's done. But it will be only for temporary time, right? Once you close the browser, it is gone, right? So yes. So if you only want to, if you have some JavaScript code in your mind and if you don't want to write it anywhere, you just want to test it, directly go on the console, write it and done. Cleared. You'll see the output and just close it. So this is also one thing, and we are going to use this a lot, because a lot of times there will be a time where we don't want to write some JavaScript code. We want to test it first. We don't want to merge it with our file. So we can come to the console, write that, test it. If it is fine, then we'll see what do we have to do with that code. Okay. So I hope this is understandable now. So these were the three things, but now let's actually start using the console. But I hope now everyone is understanding every point. So is everything clear till now, guys? Is everything clear till now? Everyone? Do we have any doubts till now? Is everything cleared? And don't worry about differences and how what is document or try. Don't worry, we have everything. I'm going to show you everything, what to use and what not to use. Okay. That is great. That is great. Everyone is understanding. That is really great. Okay, then let's continue afterwards. Let's continue. So see, in today's session, we are not even going to work with the web page. Today's session, we are not going to work with the web page. Let's go step by step. In today's session, we're only going to learn the programming fundamentals. And for all of that, we're just going to use the console. We just have to understand how to use the console properly. Once we understand how to use the console, we can move to the the web, right? Web page. Cool. Let's move ahead now. So see, this is how you print a string in double quotes. Remember, always, whenever you want to print a string, always put it in double quotes. Open and close it with double quotes. If you want to print a number, you can just go on and directly print a number. Just like, okay, console.log 67. Save it, refresh, see. Whenever you see something is blue on the console, that basically means it's a number. Remember this. If it is blue, it is a number, or it is like a proper value, right? So in this case, yeah, we can say it is a number. So booleans and numbers are printed blue on the console. Remember, booleans and numbers are printed blue on the console. I'll show you. See, what if I make this number a string? Now it just looks like a number. It's not a number, right? So basically now it just looks like a number. 67 now just looks like a number. If we perform any numerical operation on this, it will not be performed because it is not actually a number. You'll see it by understanding on the console. See, when I print 67 in a double quotes on the console, you see it. It is black in this case, right? You can see it is black. That basically means, so by also seeing it on the console, you can understand that it is getting treated as a number or not. In this case, 67 is getting treated as a string, right? And if I put it as a proper number, so I just wanted to show you that on the console also you can differentiate between what is number and what is string. Okay. See, now this is blue. I hope you can see the color changes. I just hope, because they are very low. The blue is very dark, so it is also look like black. But I hope you can understand it there. Sujit is asking external JS versus internal JS. Okay, don't worry, buddy. We're also going to learn that. Don't worry. Right? As I said in the start, this is one way of writing JavaScript. So I also like I'll also going to show you how what is the next way of writing JavaScript. So don't worry. Okay, cool. Now, see now. And someone was asking, can we perform numerical operations? Yes, you can perform. You can just go on and write, okay, 67 plus 87, something like this. You can do that. Not a problem at all. See, 67 plus 87, it prints 154. That is great, right? I hope it is clear to everyone. I hope everyone is getting cleared with this. Everyone, so you can perform the numerical operations directly. Okay, so remember this: whenever you want to print anything on the console, go for console.log always, right? Cool. Now, enough about printing. Now we know how to print anything on the
Sir,
console.
Sujit Kumar was asking external JS or internal JS, which is a standard way.
Okay, I actually gave that answer to Sujit. Yes, that we are also going to learn how to do that, how to perform external JS, right? So we right now this is like one way of what you'd say working with JS. We're also going to see the other way, that is the external JS way of writing JS. So don't worry, Sujit. We're going to do that. Okay. Yes, but if you talk about the standard way, there is no standard way. It depends on the needs actually. It depends on the needs. So I'll also explain you when to use external and when to use internal. So don't worry about it, Sujit. Okay. Dushyant, the class is at 5 p.m. every day. I hope you got your answer, Dushyant. Okay, now guys, let's move ahead now. So now we have understood how to print anything on the console. Now let's move ahead and see how to create variables in JavaScript. Now, I'll just take few answers from you people. Does anyone know what is a variable? Do we have any definition? Don't go on the internet. Just write whatever you know in the chats. Whatever you know. I just want to see whatever you know. So write anything in the chat. Whatever you know about variable. What is a variable? Because now we're going to learn what is a variable in JavaScript and how to create it and how to use it. So does anyone know what is a variable? I'll just take 2-3 answers and then I start explaining. Anyone? I want to see whose value we can assign. Okay, Sampak is saying whose value we can assign. Anyone else? Variable is where the value is stored. Changeable data. Yes, it is used for storing in data type, which holds values. Is an address where in memory value is being stored. Okay, variable is something which may vary. Where can be used? Variable store. Okay, I got a lot of answers. Okay, now that's great. That's great. A lot of people from you know the actual answer. A lot of people from you know what variable is used for. Okay, now let's move ahead. I'll just put one line and explain you what exactly is a variable. Remember, variable is a temporary memory location. Variable is a temporary memory location. Always remember this. That basically means whenever in the memory a block is reserved, that memory area is known as a variable. Remember, in my computer, I have memory. And if I want to if I want to store any data, I have to create a block in that memory where I'm going to store my data. So that block of the memory is known as a variable. The temporary block of the memory is like called as a variable. So variable is nothing but a temporary memory location. And basically it is related to programming. So programs create variables. That basically says programs go in the memory and create spaces. And for what? To store values. To store values. But how do we do that? How do we do that? Right? So in JavaScript, let's see how a JavaScript program creates a variable. Now remember, variable for everyone is same. Even it is C or C++ or Java, for everyone, the definition of variable is same. Variable is a temporary memory location. And each and every programming language creates a variable when they want to store some data. Programs require data, that's why they store data, right? And they store data in variables. That basically means they go on in the memory, reserve a block, and at that place they store data, right? But how do programs create that? So for the programs to create variables in the memory, right, what they do is create identifiers on the program, right? Something like this. You just go on and write, okay, I'm going to say num equals 2. So this num is basically an identifier, and I'm storing a data 2 in that. Now what this program will do, when this program will run, it will go inside the memory and register a memory block for this num. And that memory block will be called as a variable, and this num is an identifier for that variable. This num is basically a way to reach to that variable, to use the data stored in that variable, right? So you just have to understand. So a lot of people, like when we start working with what do you call programming, call this as the variable. This is the identifier of the variable, right? This is basically something you use to access that location. So remember, this is not the variable. That location is the variable where this 2 is going to be stored. This is the identifier of the variable, right? So whenever you write any identifier on the program, internally a variable is created for it. Just remember that internally a variable is created for that. So right now I created an identifier named num. So internally a variable will be created, a memory block will be created, and it will be associated with this num identifier. So whenever I perform anything in the num, it will be performed in the memory block, because as a human being I cannot access that memory block, right? The program cannot even directly access that memory block. So program is using this medium of identifier to access that block. Okay, so this is what it is, that's all. But commonly we go on and call this num as the variable. So that's what we're going to do, because a lot of people in the world directly call this thing as a variable. But in your heart you should know that this is not the variable, this is the identifier of that variable, right? This is, you can say, what you call the way to access that variable, that location, right? So remember this. But we can directly call this num as a variable because normally we do that. So I hope you understood this now, right? I hope you understood this now, everyone. Have we understood? Have we understood? So this is an identifier, and 2 is basically a value, right? And inside the, in the memory, a block will be created for this num, and in that this 2 will be stored. Okay, is everyone cleared? So variable is a temporary memory location, and to use that variable, to create a variable or to access the variable, we create identifiers on the program, even if it is C or C++ or anything, not a problem at all.
Sir,
Yes,
can
Umang.
we now go in for the quiz? First quiz?
uh, nope, can we just like wait 5 minutes, then we can go for the first quiz.
Okay, sure.
Okay, yeah. Okay guys, is everyone cleared with this? Is everyone cleared with this, the concept of identifiers and variables? Now this was just some random thing that I wrote. Now let's exactly see what is the syntax of creating a variable. How do we actually create it, right? And I'm talking about each and every programming language, right? I'm talking about each and every programming language. So to create a variable, what you have to do is you first have to specify the data type, and then the identifier equals to the value. This is the syntax of creating a variable. First, you write the data type, then you write the identifier that you're going to use to access the variable, and then the value for it. Now let's try to understand it part by part. Now we know what is identifier, right? The name for that variable, right? The thing that we'll use to access the variable. Value is the actual value that is stored in the variable in the memory location. What is a data type? Data type is basically something that specifies what kind of data you can store in that memory space. You can store in that variable. That's all. Data type basically specifies what kind of data you can store in that particular memory block. That is all. That is all. Like if I want to give an example, like I'm not talking about JavaScript right now. Remember, I'm not even talking about JavaScript. I'm talking about each and every programming language, right? I'm talking about each and every programming language. This is how you do it, almost in all the languages, right? So now let's say the data type that I give is number, and then I say number, and the variable name is ABC, and then I give a value 2. something like this. Let's say there's something like this is happening. So now this basically says this is ABC variable can only store numeric values. It is never going to store A, B, C, or S, or E, or F. It is never going to store values like true and false. It is always going to store numeric values like 2, 55, 100, 20. So a data type basically specifies what kind of data you can store in that variable. Is it clear, everyone? So that is what a type specifies, right? I hope it is clear to everyone now. That is what a type specifies. It specifies what kind of data you can store in that variable. It basically restricts the user. It basically provides kind of a security so that you cannot store anything in the variable, right? If you have specified number, then okay, only store numbers in that. If you store anything other than the number, it will give you an error, right? So I hope this is clear. Now let's see what is the most famous data type that we have in JavaScript. Because in C, you have int, you have what do you call char, right? In Java, you have string. I hope you know, people know this. See, this is the problem with zooming the VS Code. It gives the IntelliSense window and it is so big that I cannot even see the code. Okay. So these are some types that you have in Java and C, right? But in JavaScript, you have only one type. In JavaScript, you have only one type, that is var. So if you want to create a variable in JavaScript, you just go on and write var, then your identifier name, like anything. Okay, let's say ABC. This is my variable name, right? And then I can store like, okay, 2. Okay, is it clear? Sujit, Const is not very famous. Const is famous because a lot of people on YouTube and in what you call online sessions, a lot of people are using Const nowadays. But it again depends on the needs. It's not famous, right? Like it is famous, people use it, but you cannot say like it is the most famous because nowadays a lot of people are using const. But there is also, it depends on the needs, when you want to use a const or when you want to use a var. It totally depends on the need, right? So just remember this, Sujit. Okay, so the most famous, actually this is the most famous because till 2015 var was the only type that was being used. After 2015 we got some new types, right? But var, we can say var is the most famous because still 2015 var was the only type used in JavaScript, right? Okay, now let's move ahead. Now when I said, okay, if my type is number, we can store number. If my type is string, we can store string. What does var stand for? What does var stand for? If I say my type is var, then what kind of data I'm going to store? Can anyone tell me what does var stand for? Can anyone tell me what does var stand for? Okay, I got one answer. Okay. Variable, mutable data, that's great. Anyone else? Function scope. Okay, function scope. Okay, fine. That is cool. That is cool. Variable. Okay, a lot of people are just saying variable. Okay, Zlani is saying, okay, cool. Now see, first of all, var does not stand for variable. Var stands for variant. Var stands for variant. First thing, var stands for variant. Just remember this thing, right? So that is what it stands for. Now, what is its work? Var basically says, I am not a fixed type. I will become the type depending on whatever data you pass. So if you pass a numeric 2, var will become number internally. If you pass a string like ABC or like my name like Saurabh, var will become string internally. Var will be treated as string, right? So var is variant. It stands for variant. You can say it's a changeable data type, just like someone said mutable data, right? It can be changed. So the type depends on, whenever you specify a variable with var, that basically means the type depends on the data you pass. So if you pass a numeric data, the variable internally will become numeric. If you pass a string data, it will internally become a string. If you pass a character, internally it will become character. If you pass a boolean, internally it will become boolean. So var stands for variant. That basically says I can change depending on your data. You don't have to specify it like a fixed type, like, okay, I am number or you are a string. It is changeable, it is variable, right? It is variant. So that's what var stands for. Okay, I hope it is cleared now, right? You can also that now var actually also says in future you can also go on and change and actually store 2 in that variable. So at first when I created the variable, I stored a string. I can always in any other steps I can change it to number. That's what var is doing. If it was fixed that it is number, then if it was fixed that the var is string, then I will be unable to change it to number. Just like in C, if you create an integer a equals to 1, you cannot in future go on and store a equals to s, because you have specified that it is an integer a. It will always store number whatever happens. Var says at any point of time you can change my data, and at any point of time you can change my type. It's totally fine. Based on the data, I'll change my type, right? So that's what var stands for. Okay, and after 2015, var was replaced with let. After 2015, var was replaced with let. Now, to understand let and why it was replaced and why should we start using let, remember let is also for the same purpose. Let is also for the same purpose. It is also a variant. Let also says it's a variant, that whatever data you pass, I'll change my type. So let is also a variant type. But why we should go for let and not var, we'll understand maybe by the end of the session or maybe tomorrow. So for now, let's just leave it. Let's first start working with var, and then we'll see a proper time to go from var to let, and I'll also explain you what are the differences, why JS developers removed var and gave us let, and why they want us to use let and not var, right? I'll also explain you that, right? So don't worry about it. Okay, is it clear everyone? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, now so let's not give this variable a name of abc. Let's give it a name. So the name of the variable is name. Okay, I just introduced you with let. Don't worry, I'll explain you what it is. Don't worry. For now, let's go for var. I'll explain you what is let, what are the common things between var and let, and what are the different things between var and let, and why should we go for let and not for var. I'll explain you. Don't worry at all. Don't worry. Okay. Now, if you want, you can always go on, you print variables in console.log. So you can just go on and say, okay, I want to print the name variable. And that's it. It will print the value of the name variable. That is in this case, Saurabh. Jyoti, it's 5 o'clock. Everyone who is joining for the first day, it's 5 o'clock every day. Okay, cool. Now let's see if we are printing the value of the variable. Let's see. Refresh the page. And here we go. See, we have Saurabh here. So that is amazing. Now we can print it. Okay. So we can also have multiple variables like, okay, let's say var, say anything like country, like, and I can store, let's say India, and I can write one more console.log, and I can go for, what is the next variable? Country, right? Same, save it, go on. See, you have Saurabh and India. Okay, so this is something that you can do. So you can, this is how you print variables on the console. Now there's one more way. If you want to print both the variables using a single console.log, if you don't want to use two console.logs, right? If you don't want to use two console.logs and only want to use one console.log, you can always go and write a comma, and you can also print the other variable like this. So now in this case, you don't have to use two console.logs. You can use only one console.log and it will work perfectly fine. Save it. See, I can print it. Okay, so this is how it works. So you can also use a single console.log and print everything. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Now you can also have a number, like let's say I have a var age. Okay, and it is a number. So I can say, okay, let's say 25. So name, country, and let's say I also printed age. Save it. Refresh. See, now you have Saurabh, India 25. You can see the difference, right? Saurabh and India are black because they are strings. 25 is blue because it is a number. I hope you can notice that. right? 25 is blue. I hope you can notice that because it is a number, right? Cool, everyone. Is this understandable? So have we understood how to create variables? Have we understood how to print them on the console? Everyone, please tell me. Everyone, please tell me, have we understood that? Have we understood all of this?
Sir, now can we go for the quiz?
Yes, now we can go for the quiz. Okay, guys, so I hope you have understood the like the concept of variables, and you've also understood the concept of how to print anything, right? So now we just have a simple quiz for you, right? So Umang ma'am will give you the quiz, so you can just go on and solve it very fast and come. It is just for your entertainment, so just go on, solve it, and come very fast. Okay. So it will be a very simple quiz based on the topic that we have learned. So you can just go on. It is just for like your entertainment and your testing of the topics. So you can just go on, what do you call, just give some answers and you can just come back very fast. It will be 3 or 4 questions. And don't worry if you get anything wrong, not a problem at all. The most important thing
The
is that you're learning,
quiz,
right?
yeah, the quiz does not hold any marks for the exam. So you can just, it is only for your knowledge purposes and for your own learning. So all you can all attempt it. It is not a graded quiz for your certificate. Please be clear of that.
The link is shared to you guys in the chats. Just go on, solve it, and come fast. Okay, and when you come back, just tell me that you have completed the quiz so that we can start the session again. Okay, just take 2 or 3 minutes and come back very fast. I'm waiting for you. Okay, so Amajit is asking, after first attempting the first question, further questions are not loading. Okay, we'll check that. We'll check that, Somajit. There might be some issue with that, or maybe there might be some issue with the internet. We'll check it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry if you get wrong. Don't worry if you get stuck. Don't worry if it is not loading. It's not a problem at all, right? It's just for like just a simple break for you people in between the concepts so that you people are not loaded with the things, right? So just take it like that. Okay. Don't worry if it is wrong or if you get stuck or if you are unable to complete it. It's totally fine, right? It's only for a break and for your knowledge testing. That's all. That is great, Mandip. That's a good score. Okay, is everyone done? Is everyone done? Please tell me. That is great, Mandeep. That is great. It's totally fine, Ashutosh. It's totally fine, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. See, even if you get 0, even if you get 4, treat it as same. Not a problem at all, right? So if anybody is getting 0, don't go down. It's totally fine, right? It's totally fine. Okay, is everyone done? Please come back and tell me, is everyone done? So that we can move ahead. That is great. That is great. I think now everyone is back. So now we can move ahead and start, right? Okay, should we move ahead now, guys? Yes, Vijay Kumar, certificate bhi milega. Yes. It's totally fine, Saurabh. It's totally fine, buddy. Not a problem at all. Okay, should we move ahead now, guys? Should we start back? Because now we are going to move to the next topic, because now we know how to create variables and how to use them, right? How to print them. So now we are going to move ahead. I think the URL link after the quiz was also for the quiz only. So don't worry, Sujit. It's totally fine. I think both were for the same quiz. Yes, both were for the same quiz, Sujit. Yes, both were for the same quiz. Okay, Saurabh, we'll check out that. We'll check out. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. So don't like just get it for your entertainment. That's all. Don't go on too seriously for that, right? Just take it as your entertainment and break, right? Because we just don't want to load you people with all the topics, right? So just take it as a break and enjoy it, right? Chill out. Don't worry about it. If you're getting 0, don't worry. It's totally fine. Okay. Let's move ahead. Should we, guys? Okay, great. I think now everyone is back. Let's move ahead. So the next topic that we are going to see here is operators. The next topic that I have in my mind for you is operators, right? So now we know how to print something on the console. At least we know how to print something. And now we also know how to create variables and give them values, right? And how to print values also. How to print variables, sorry. The next topic that I'm going to teach you here is operators, right? Is operators. Now, what are operators? Operators in programming, like it's just a very simple definition, right? So operators in programming are nothing but something that is used to perform any operation, any calculation, any mathematical operation. So operators in programming are basically used to perform some mathematical operations or calculations or logical operations, like anything, right? And operations are basically performed on variables, on data, right? So operators will also work with your data and variables, right? Just like you have this, like plus, minus, these are operators, right? When you add two variables, you're doing it with the help of an operator, that is plus. So this plus minus are basically example of operators, right? But these are not the only operators that we have, right? So let's get it from the start. Operators are something that is going to help you to perform operations, right? And operations are basically performed on data, right? And data is basically held in the variable, right? So operators are going to work with your data and with your variable, right? And operators only perform, like basically perform some kind of calculations and logical operations. And for example, we had plus and minus, right? But these are not the only operators that we have. There are a lot of operators we have, and based on how they work, they are divided into separate categories. So what we're going to do is we're going to first take a look at all the categories and then at all the operators, and then we'll see what is the use of each and every operator one by one. So don't worry about it, right? Should we start, guys? Have we understood what is operator? Have we understood? right? Operators are something that you use to perform some kind of calculations on data or on variables, right? Are we clear with this? Just like you have something called as plus. Plus is an operator that helps you to perform an addition operation, right? That's all. But we have a lot of operators, and based on their work, they are divided into categories. So let's go on and see what is the categories we have. Now you also have to understand, right? When you write something like this, let's say 67 plus 67, or let's say 67 plus 90. When you write something like this, in this case, plus is known as the operator, and on whatever things the operator works on are known as operands. Just like it's just some extra knowledge that I'm giving you if you don't know. The numbers or the data or the variable on anything, when an operator works on something, that something is known as an operand. That something is known as an operand. So in this case, plus is an operator, and 67 and 90 are operands. And this whole thing is an operation, right? So operator, this whole thing is operation, plus is the operator, and 67 and 90 are operands. Remember this. Just remember this, like what do you call the names that will help you to understand everything, right? Okay, let's move ahead now. So based on the work, there are different category of operator. So the first category that we have is, again, don't mind the spellings, arithmetic operators, right? The first category that we have is arithmetic operators, in which we have plus, we have minus, all the mathematical operation, right? The basic ones. Multiplication, we have divide, we have modulo. So these are what you call the arithmetic operators that will basically help you to perform some mathematical operations. Then you have the next set of operators. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's actually write something, and let's also see them one by one. Okay, don't worry if you guys know about these things, because these are very simple. So if you guys know about these things, still watch it. If you guys don't know, focus and watch it, right? If someone is here that is just starting with programming, you can watch it properly. And if you know, not a problem. We just have to complete everything so that everyone can understand, right? So now let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. So what I'll do is I'll comment everything so that this code is not executed. Okay guys, what I'm doing from a lot of time is I'm commenting the code, right? If you are like uh not understanding what I'm doing here, is why is everything turning green, this is known as commenting the code. When you comment a code, that code is ignored by the compiler or the executor. That code is ignored, and that code is not executed. It is just there in your file. It is not executed. So whenever you want to write something, write some explanation, or you have a code that you want to be ignored by the executor, you can always comment it. It will be in your file, but it will not be executed. And to comment in VS Code, or almost in all the code editors, the shortcut is control slash. So select the thing you want to comment. Just like I want to comment these 3 lines. I selected and just press control slash. Control slash is the shortcut to comment. Control slash is the shortcut to comment. And again, if you want to uncomment it, select everything and again press control slash. That is the shortcut to uncomment. So comment and comment both with control slash, and it is almost same in all the editors. So don't worry. So I just commented it. So these things will be ignored by the browser. So if you have some explanations, or if you have some extra code that you don't want to execute, always go for comment. Now, to understand arithmetic operators, let's do one thing. Let's create 2 variables. So let's create var num1 equals 56, and one more variable var num2 equals 67. Right? Okay, let's take some small numbers so that you can also understand that we are getting right answers, right? So let's say num1 as 4 and num2 as 2, like this. Okay, now let's start doing it. Console.log, you can say num1 plus num2. We know what we're going to do, right? What we're going to have in this output. Let's see. Refresh the page, and here you go. Now we have 6. I hope you can see it. We have 6 here, right? In the same case, we can just go on and also say, okay, I want to perform a minus operation. Save it. Now we have 2, right? That is 4 minus 2, right? I hope this is understandable. Everyone, I hope this is understandable. Like these are very basic ones, right? Let's also perform the multiplication. That will definitely give us 8. It should give us 8. If it is not giving 8, then it is a problem. Let's see. Here we go. 4 multiplied by 2, 8. Also, let's perform 4 divided by 2. Let's see what we get. Here we get 2, right? Normal. When you divide 4 by 2, you'll get 2. 2 to the 4. And then finally, we have modulo. This one, the percentage simple. Now remember, this is also a divide operation. Slash is also a divide operation. Modulo is also a divide operation. Slash gives you the quotient. Modulo gives you the remainder. Remember this thing. If you don't know it, right? Slash gives you the quotient. That is the actual divide operation, right? Modulo gives you the remainder, if in case you need it. So let's see. The remainder for 4 divided by 2 should be 0, right? Let's see. Here we go. That is 0. Let's do one thing. Let's make it 5. Save it. Here we go. We have 1, right? 2 to the 4, and then at the end remainder will be 1, right? So modulo is for remainder. So I hope you guys understood the arithmetic operations. Is everyone clear with this? Is everyone clear with this? Please let me know in the chat so that we can move ahead, guys. Please let me know in the chats. Is everyone clear with this? Okay, great. Now let's move ahead. Someone is asking, what about power? For power, you have a separate function, Neelam. So we're also going to see that when we are at mathematical functions. So don't worry about it. So these were the arithmetic operations that were very, very simple. Now let's move on to the next one. That is comparison operators. Comparison operators are basically used, what you call, to perform comparison between two data, right? So it's very simple. Comparison operators are basically used to perform comparison of two data. So if they are same, if the comparison is successful, it will give you true. If the comparison is unsuccessful, it will give you false. So remember, always comparison will always give you only two results, either true or false, right? So if the comparison is successful, it will give you true. If the comparison is unsuccessful, it will give you false. Now let's see what are the operators we have, and let's try to test them. Let's try to see them. So you have less than, you have greater than, you have less than equal to, you have greater than equal to, right? So these are some comparison operators. And then you also have not equal to, and you also have equal to equal to. These are some comparison operators. I'll just close this thing so that you can see everything. These are some comparison operators. Less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to, and equal to equal to. Is this cleared? Is this cleared, everyone? Okay. Now, let's see. Let's say I write num1 is less than num2. Will this give us true or false? Everyone. Is this comparison successful? Num1 is less than num2. Is this comparison is successful, guys? Don't worry, Somajit. I'm going to explain you. We're going step by step, right, buddy? Somajit. See, people, whoever is asking the advanced doubts about anything, right? Don't worry. We are going step by step. If you're asking, that is totally fine. But don't worry. We are going step by step. I'm going to explain you everything. And if I miss anything, you are here to remind me, right? So don't worry about it. Okay. So this comparison is basically unsuccessful because num1 is 5 and num2 is 2. And 5 is not less than 2. So this is going to give us false. Let's see. And here we have false. Let's try greater than. And this should give us true. Let's see. Here we go. It is true. Okay. Now let's try less than equal to. Now what basically less than equal to says? It basically says either it should be less than or it should be equal to. Then only I'm going to give true. Right. So 5 is not less than 2 and 5 is even not equal to 2. So it will just give us false again. Right. And again, if I say greater than equal to, in this case, it will become true because 5 is not equal to 2, but 5 is at least greater than 2 because it is greater than equal to, right? So it will check for both. Either it will check for greater than or it will check for equal to, right? So equal to is wrong, but at least greater than is correct. So in this case, it will give us true, right? So remember this thing, less than equal to and greater than equal to, right? They check for two things, either for equality or for less than or greater than. Okay. Now we have not equal to. That basically says num1 is not equal to num2. Is this correct, everyone? Is this correct? What will this condition give us? What will this condition give us? Remember that exclamation symbol is not. In programming languages, exclamation symbol basically stands for not, right? So don't worry about it. Is this clear, everyone? So now in this case, it will give us true, right? Simple. Because 5 is not equal to true, for sure. Save it, refresh. Here we go. It is true. Now we have equal to equal to. Now equal to is basically for checking the equality if they are same. Now a lot of people gets confused why we are having two equals to when I want to check only for the like equality. Remember, in the programming language, equal to is already used for something else. Equal to operator is already used for assignment of values, to give values to the variable. That's why for equality test we don't have equal to operator, because it is getting used for something else. That's why we have double equal to. Okay, now let's see. Save it, and here we go. False. Why? Because 5 and 2 are not same. Okay, now let's go on and make them equal. Num1 is also 5 and num2 is also 5. Save it, and I think in this case it should give us true, right? Are we clear with this? Tejasu, if you give what you call single equal to, it will assign it, right? It will pass the num2 value to num1, right? I hope it is getting cleared. It will pass the num2 value to num1 because equal to is used for assignment. Is it cleared, everyone? Is it cleared, everyone? Are we cleared with all the comparison operators? Everyone, are we cleared with all the comparison operators? Or do you have any confusion? Do we have any confusion? Okay, that is great. That is great. Now let's move ahead and let's see one problem here. Let's see one problem here. Now we know that JavaScript is not having data types, right? JavaScript is not having data types. Now if you see what double equal to is doing, let's see. My num1 is a numeric 5, and let's make our num2 a string 5. Now see, my num1 is a numeric 5 and my num2 is a string 5. So according to normal programming logic, this should not be equal, right? Because the num2, it's not even a 5, like it just looks like a 5, but it's a string. It's not even a numeric 5, right? So in programming languages like C and C++, this will surely become false. It will surely give you false because one is string and one is number. But in JavaScript, if you see it, it is still giving us true, right? So for JavaScript, numeric 5 and string 5 are same. Why? Because you should always remember in JavaScript, double equal to only checks for lookalike. Double equal to only checks for lookalike. Always remember this. Double equal to only checks for lookalike. So it is just saying, okay, fine, both are looking same. That's okay. Give the, like, it's okay, equal, true. So this is a problem with double equal to, right? It only checks for lookalike. And this is happening because JavaScript does not have data types. In C and C++, you have types. In that case, this num2 will be a string and num will be a numeric. So in C, you can't even compare them. It will give you an error if you even try to compare a string and a number. But in JavaScript, since JavaScript is not having a type, it's totally fine to compare a string and a number. And double equality is only checking for lookalike, right? And that's why to solve this problem in JavaScript, we also have identity operators. We have identity operators. That is triple equal to and not double equal to. We have identity operators. I hope you have understood the concept, right? Double equal to only checks for lookalike. Double equal to only checks for lookalike because JavaScript is not having any type, right? So sometimes there is also a need of checking these kind of things. That's why JavaScript has double equal to. And this problem is solved by using identity operators. Instead of double equal to, you can go for triple equal to. Triple equal to is like a proper equality operator. It checks for the lookalike as well as for the type. So it will check that both are looking same or not. And also it will check for both are having same type or not. So it will only compare numeric 5 with numeric 5. Now in this case, I'm trying to compare numeric 5 with string 5. So it is surely going to give us false. Let's see. And here we go. It is false. Okay. Same, Neelam, same. For equivalent fractions also it is same. It is equality test, right? So in the triple equal to will always check if they are completely same in the lookalike also or in the type also. Both will be checked. Okay. Is this clear, Neelam? Okay, so now we'll see. This should give us true now. And here we go. So this triple equal to and not double equal to, both are for equality and not equality, but they also check for type. You should understand this. They also check for types. So these are also for checking for equality and not equality, but these will only check for lookalike. And these things will check for lookalike as well as for the types. So always try to use triple equal to when you want to perform equality operation. Always go for triple equal to. Always try to avoid double equal to for equality operations. Okay. Is this cleared, everyone? Are we cleared with everything now? Are we cleared with all of this? Please let me know, guys. Are we cleared with all of this? Guys, are we
Sir,
cleared with all of this?
so now can we go for the second quiz?
Umang, actually, we can't go for the second quiz because in the second quiz, I think we have the conditional statements and everything, and we haven't covered
Okay.
it yet, right?
Yeah, we haven't. We are
Yeah.
still at operators. Okay.
Yes. Saurabh is asking for explanation of not equal to. Not equal to is fine, right? Not equal to is same. It's for not equal to. It's if you want to check if the two things are not equal. That's all. That's for not equal to, right? Like, okay, I'll show you. See. Let's do it like this. Let's make them 5. So now we have a 5 and a string 5, and let's say not equal to. Save it, refresh, and it is giving us false. It should give us false, right? It should give us, yes, not equal to is fine. Not equal to is fine. Not equal to is fine. So not equal to and not triple equal, not double equal to are fine. That's why we don't often go for not equal to. Like we can always go for not equal to. It's totally fine. Only for equality, I'm saying. Only for equality, always go for triple equal to. Right? Only for equality, always go for triple equal to because it checks for type as well as what you call this lookalike, right? But not equal to is fine. You can go for single not equal to. It's totally fine. Okay, is it clear? I think we can check it for not equal to, not triple equal. You should always go for not double equal to also. But I think in this case, yes, it's fine. It's totally fine. Not equal to is working fine. Not equal to is giving us false, right? Yeah, it's fine. Nope. Actually, I'm sorry. I misunderstood it. Not equal to should give us true, right? In this case, right? Not equal to should give us true. But it is giving us false because not equal to is thinking that both are equal. Again, same problem, right? Yes, the same problem. So you should go for not double equal to, right? See, it is giving us true now because both are not equal, right? And see, not single equal to is giving us false because not equal to is thinking 5, numeric 5 and string 5 are same. I didn't see that. Sorry, I misunderstood. I hope you understand this now. I hope you understand this. So actually, not for not equal to also. For not equal to also, you should go for not double equal to and not for single equal to. Right? Always remember this. Yes. I'm so sorry. I misunderstood it. right? I hope you understood this, right? I hope you understood this now. Okay, is this cleared, everyone? Is this cleared? Is this cleared? Not a problem. We'll all make a lot of mistakes throughout the session, so that is totally fine. Okay, is everyone understood this? So always go for identity operators when you want to perform equivalency, when you want to check for equality, right? Always go for triple equal to and not double equal to. Don't go for double equal to and not equal to. Please don't go for double equal to and not equal to. Okay, is that cleared? Okay, so these were identity operators. Okay, now the next kind of operators that we have are assignment operators, and these are like one of the most easiest operators. The first operator is something that you have already seen, that is equal to, but you have some more. You have plus equal to, you have minus equal to, you have multiplied equals to, you have divide equals to, you have modulo equals to. Now let's try to understand what is the use of all this, right? Equal to is, I think, clear to everyone because we are using it, right? It is always used to apply values to variables, right? Or transferring variables from right side to left side. Remember, assignment operators always work from right to left, just like this. See, now let's do one thing. Let's print this num1, console.log num1. You'll see this is the first assignment operator. I'm applying, I'm basically, what I'm doing, I'm assigning 5 to num1 so that the value of num1 becomes 5. That's all. Simple. Let's see. Here we go. 5. Now, what does plus equal to do? Okay, let's try to understand it. Let's create two variables for it. Let's say I have one more variable like num2 equals to 5, right? And now what I do is I do this num1 plus equal to num2, and I print num1. Now you'll see the difference. Focus, everyone, focus. You'll understand this. Focus. See, the value of num1 in this case, oh, sorry, I just wrote plus, right? It should be plus equal to. Save it, refresh, and see. The value of num1 is 10. Because what I did is, if I expand this num1 plus equal to num2, it is actually something like this. Num1 equals to num1 plus num2. This is what is going on internally for this. This is the shortcut. This plus equal to is basically the shortcut. Okay, so what plus equals to does? Plus equal to adds both the operands and stores the value into the left operand. That's all. You can say it like that. Plus equal to, what it does, adds both the operands and then stores whatever the value is there in the left operand. This is the whole operation. See, adding both the operands, and then whatever we get, we store it in the left side operand. That's all. That's all. This is the extension of it. That's all. So if I write a plus equal to b, that means I'm writing a equals to a plus b. That basically says first add both of them, then store it in the left side operand. That's all. Store it in the left side because assignment works from right to left, right? That's why we are storing it in the left side operand. That's all. Are we cleared, everyone? So see, you can see it, right? Num1 was 5, num2 was 5. So if I say num1 plus num2, it becomes 10. And then I again stored it in num1. So num1, the new value of num1 becomes 10. And that's why we got 10 when we printed num1. Is this cleared, everyone? Is this assignment operator clear to everyone? Are we cleared, everyone? Everyone, are we cleared with this? Please tell me. Okay, and same for minus equal to, multiplied equal to, divide equal to, and modulo equal to. They work same. If I write minus equal to, it is basically num1 equals to num1 minus num2. So it's basically same. I hope now that is like self-understandable, right? Just to check, let's also perform minus equal to. So let's make it small first. Let's make it 2. Now let's perform minus equal to. Now you can see I wrote num minus equal to num2. That basically stands for num1 equals to num1 minus num2. That will basically say I'm trying to minus 5 minus 2. That will be 3. And whatever the answer I get, I'll again store it in num1. So the value of num1 will become 3. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, Tejasvi is asking, what if we print num2? Num2 will remain same, right? We are not doing anything on num2. We are not doing any assignment to num2. So num2 will still remain same. Num2 will remain 2 in this case. right? So num2 will remain same because we are not doing any assignment on num2. The variable that will change is on which we are trying to perform some kind of assignment, or to which I'm assigning some value. That is the only variable that will change, right? Num2 is same. Num2 will be same because there is no assignment. We're not doing anything with it. We're just using the value. We're not assigning anything to it, right? So same, like you can easily understand multiplied equal to, this divide equal to, and modulo equal to. It's exactly same, right? So let's also try multiplied equal to, the last one, just so that you understand it normally. Now what will be the answer for num1? Guys, I want answers from you now. What will be the answer? What will be the answer? Now the expression will look like this, right? Guys, what will be the answer for this? What will be the new value of num1? Everyone, at least I want 5 to 6 answers. Okay, great. Everyone is saying 10. Let's see. And here we go. It is 10. So you guys are amazing, right? You got the answers. Okay, now let's move ahead. Let's see the next kind of operators, that is logical operators. Okay. And the logical operators that we have are and, or, and not. These are the three logical operators that we have. And basically I have wrote two ands, but that is how and is in programming. That is how we write and in programming. We have and, we have or, and we have not. These are the three logical operators we have. No other part. It's not triple equal to is not present in all the languages. Nope. Because all other languages have types, right? So they don't have this problem of lookalike and types. That's why there is no need of triple equal to. JavaScript has this problem. That's why we have types here. I hope you understand it. Okay. Cool. So these are the three logical operators, but I'm not going to explain these right now because I'll explain you when we have a proper point of explanation to it. Right? So don't worry. We'll understand the logical operators tomorrow when we start working with conditions. Right? So don't worry about it. Don't worry. Okay. But now we have explored 5 categories, right? 5 categories of operators. And these categories also come under one more superior category that is known as binary operators. So these 4 categories are under binary operator. So these 5 categories are under binary operator. Why they are called as binary operator? Because they use 2 operands. By means 2, right? By means 2. So that's why binary. Nary means number, right? So using 2 numbers, using 2 operands, right? So I hope it is understandable now, right? I hope it is understandable, right? All these 5 categories of operators use 2 operands. That's why they are also known as binary operators, because they work on 2 operands. They cannot work on single operand or 3 operands. They always work on 2 operands, right? Is it clear, everyone?
Sir,
Yes, please tell
I
me.
think now we can call it off for the day.
Yes, just give me 2 minutes. Yes, just give me 2 minutes. We'll end it then.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I hope everyone understood the binary concept, right? All the binary operators, right? And we'll see these operators are left. We're going to see them tomorrow, so don't worry about it. But tomorrow, before moving on to the logical operators, first we'll understand unary operators, operators that work with single operand, and we'll also understand, it is for tomorrow, right? We'll also understand ternary operators, right? Operators which work with 3 operands, right? So these all were binary operators that basically work with 2 operands. Tomorrow we're going to work with unary operators, operators that work with single operand, and also ternary operators, operators that work with 3 operands, right? And we'll also see the logical operators thing. Okay. So for tomorrow we have a lot of things. And yes, all remember this thing, be present tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to see all the operators, as well as we're also going to start with conditional statements and loops tomorrow. Okay. So don't forget to like tune into the session tomorrow, because we have a lot to cover tomorrow. So basically we're going to complete all the programming fundamentals tomorrow, and from after the next day, like after tomorrow, right, from day after tomorrow, we're going to start with the DOM manipulation part. So don't miss anything, right? See, why we are learning this? Because when we actually start with DOM manipulation also, in that we're also going to need programming. That's why we are learning all of this. Even when we start with DOM manipulation, in DOM manipulation also, we're going to require a lot of programming, a help of a lot of programming. That's why we are basically learning all the programming fundamentals first before moving on to the actual DOM manipulation part, where we start removing elements, adding elements, creating elements, changing the style of the element. In that also, we need a lot of programming. That's why we're learning all of this first, right? So be present tomorrow, because tomorrow we have operators, conditions, and loops. And if we get time, we'll also see arrays. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow. It's very important, right? Yes, Swamijit, yes, totally fine. You can connect. Okay. And yes, you'll have the quiz tomorrow. Don't worry. Okay. Is everyone cleared with everything? Is everyone cleared with everything? Please let me know in the chats if you enjoyed the session, right? And I will basically see you at 5 tomorrow. Don't miss out. Okay.
So, okay, everyone. Now let's call it off for the day. So today we learned a lot about what are variables, what are operators, and lot of categories of operators. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. Please take a note of the things that you have to mark the attendance. Please mark your attendance to all the people who haven't marked it. And the quiz link is active for 24 hours for all of you people who want to take the quiz for enjoyment purposes can do it. And please register yourself on the website, on the community groups, and hope to see you tomorrow with all the energy once again. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. See you at 5 tomorrow. Okay. I'm expecting all of you to come.